Welcome to this lecture on statistical computing using C and C++ programming. Today, we are going to explore one of the most powerful concepts in software development, user-defined functions. If you have ever felt overwhelmed by writing long, repetitive blocks of code, this topic will completely change how you program. We will learn how to break massive problems into small, manageable pieces. Let us dive in and see how functions can make our code cleaner, faster, and much easier to debug. To start, imagine you are managing a large restaurant kitchen. If you, the head chef, try to chop vegetables, cook meat, and wash dishes all by yourself, you will quickly become overwhelmed. Instead, you hire specialized assistants for each task. In C and C++ programming, the main program is like that head chef, and user-defined functions are your specialized assistants. A user-defined function is a custom-built block of code created to perform one specific repetitive task. By breaking a massive program down into these smaller helper functions, your code becomes much easier to read, test, and fix. This approach is known as modular programming. Now that we understand what a function is conceptually, let us look at how it is structured. Every user-defined function consists of three main parts. First is the declaration, which simply tells the compiler the function's name and what kind of inputs it should expect. Second is the definition, which is the actual step-by-step code inside the function that does the heavy lifting. Finally, we have the call. The call is the exact moment the main program triggers the function to run. When this happens, the computer temporarily pauses the main program, jumps over to the function, executes its instructions, and then jumps right back to where it left off. This structure we just discussed closely mirrors something you already know from algebra. Conceptually, a programming function operates just like the mathematical model y equals to f of x. In this model, f represents the user-defined function itself, containing the specific instructions or calculations to be performed. The variable x represents the argument or parameter. This is the input data you pass into the function when you call it. Finally, the variable y represents the return value, which is the final result the function hands back to the main program after finishing its work. Just like in math, if you change the input x, the function will process it and likely produce a completely different output y. Understanding this mathematical model leads us to one of the most critical rules in C programming: how data is actually handed over to a function. This concept is known as pass by value. When you pass a variable into a function, the computer does not give the function the actual original variable. Instead, it makes a temporary photocopy of the variable's value and hands that photocopy to the function. This means the function is working entirely with copied data. If the function modifies, deletes, or changes this copied value, the original variable back in the main program remains completely untouched and safe. Think of it like giving a friend a photocopy of your favorite recipe. If they spill coffee on it, your original book is safe. Building on the idea of photocopied data, we must also consider the variables created inside the function itself. When you create new variables inside a user-defined function to help with calculations, those variables are strictly local to that function. This dictates where a variable exists and how long it lives in the computer's memory. The moment the function starts running, these local variables are born. However, the exact millisecond the function finishes its job, all of those local variables are instantly destroyed and erased from memory. You can think of this as the Las Vegas rule of programming. Whatever variables are created inside a function stay inside that function and die when the function ends. Before we move on to other types of functions, let us see this pass-by-value concept with a concrete example. We want to calculate the square of a given integer. The main program wants to find the square of the number 5. We have an original variable x equal to 5 in our main program. When we call our user-defined function named square, we pass this value to it. Because C uses pass by value, the function does not get the original x. Instead, it receives a photocopy of the number 5, which it stores in its own local variable. Let us call it n. So now, inside the function, n equals 5. Continuing with our calculation, the local variable n now holds the copied value of 5. The function's specific job is to multiply this input by itself. To keep things organized, we will store this intermediate calculation in another local variable called r. The function executes the multiplication, setting r equal to n times n. Both n and r are local variables, meaning they only exist inside this specific function. The computer calculates the product of 5 and 5. We are doing this step by step to clearly see how local variables handle the internal logic without ever touching the main program's memory. Now we reach the conclusion of our functions task. The calculation is complete and the local variable r now holds the value 25. The final step of the function is to return this computed value back to the main program. Once the value 25 is handed back, the function finishes its execution. At that exact moment, its local variables n and r are permanently destroyed, freeing up memory. The main program receives the 25 and can now print it to the screen. Physically, this means our main program successfully delegated a math problem and received the correct answer without risking its own variables. Let us look at a diagram that perfectly illustrates the example we just solved. On the left, you see the main program block holding our original variable x equals 5. Notice the top arrow pointing to the right? This represents pass by value. It carries a copy of the number 5 over to the user-defined function block on the right. Inside that dashed box, which represents the local scope, the function creates its own variables n and r to calculate the square. The dashed lines remind us that this entire box is temporary and will be destroyed after execution. Finally, the bottom arrow shows the function returning the final result, 25, back to the safety of the main program. So far, we have assumed that every function calculates a result and hands a value back to the main program. But this is not always true. Sometimes you want a function to simply perform an action. This could be printing a welcome message to the screen, sounding an alarm, or clearing a display, without needing it to calculate or return any mathematical answer. In C and C++, these are called void functions. The keyword void literally means empty or nothing. Placing it before a function's name tells the computer that this function will do its job but will not return any data back to the caller. Think of a void function like a janitor you hire to clean a room. They perform a valuable service, but they do not hand you a physical object when finished. To deeply understand pass by value and void functions together, let us look at an example where a function tries to change a variable but fails to affect the main program. Suppose we have a main program with a variable representing a bank balance, initially set to 100. We call a void function named add bonus and pass our balance to it, hoping to add 50 to our account. Because it is a void function, it will not return any value back to us. Because of pass by value, the function receives a copy of the 100, which it stores in its own local variable BL. So inside the void function, the local copy starts at 100. Continuing inside the void function, the program executes the addition. It takes the local variable BL and adds 50 to it, attempting to give us a bonus. The local variable inside the function now equals 150. However, because this is a void function, it does not return this new value to the main program. Furthermore, because of local variable scope, this modified variable is completely isolated from the main program. The function has done its internal math, but it has no way to communicate this new balance back to the original account. Now we see the final consequence of this setup. When the void function ends, the local variable holding 150 is instantly destroyed. Back in the main program, if we check our original balance B1, it is still exactly 100. The original variable was never touched because the function only modified its own private photocopy. This perfectly demonstrates why pass-by value protects your original data. Physically, it shows that if you actually want the main program to see the results of a calculation, you must explicitly return a value rather than using a void function. Having seen how functions operate, it is important to understand their role in the real world. User-defined functions are the absolute backbone of all modern software engineering. Without them, programmers would have to write massive, millions of lines long programs in a single continuous block, making it impossible to find bugs or work together as a team. In real-world applications, like a video game, one team writes the function to draw graphics, while another writes the function to calculate physics. These functions can be reused thousands of times without rewriting the code, saving enormous amounts of time and computer memory. Furthermore, concepts like pass-by value ensure that different parts of a complex program do not accidentally corrupt each other's data. We have covered a lot of ground today, so let us summarize the key takeaways. First, user-defined functions act as specialized helpers to the main program, allowing us to break complex problems into manageable, reusable modules. Second, we learned that functions receive data as temporary photocopies through pass-by value, which acts as a shield, ensuring your original data remains safe. Third, remember the Las Vegas rule. Any variables created inside these functions are strictly local and are destroyed the moment the function finishes its job. Whether they return a calculated result or perform an action as a void function, they are essential for keeping code organized, efficient, and bug-free. You now have a solid foundation in modular programming.